The following is an EHC media production.
What's going on, RWT family and SMARTMARK radio listeners? This is your boy, Moses Marquez.
And I'm your boy, Emir, Blackbane, Costello.
And we are here to remind you guys to catch us each and every week on the Gorilla Position.
Yeah, man, it's our little show we got going on where we talk about all things wrestling. And Moses Marquez, what's your favorite thing to talk about?
My favorite thing to talk about is all the bullshit going on in the WWE, but then I like to sugar on a little bit of the awesomeness of the New Japan Pro Wrestling. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, I like talking about those things too. Not to mention AEW is coming out. Ring of Honor is awesome. And I don't know if anybody likes Impact, but fuck it, if they're making news, we're talking about them too.
We're talking about all this and more, guys. So again, catch us each and every week on soundcloud.com/SmartMark Radio, and of course on the RWT YouTube page. Every week, a new episode of the Gorilla Position will be up. So we'll catch you around the bend, boys and girls. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
For honest, uncut, and often controversial coverage of all things wrestling, there's one place to get it, with some good old banter thrown in.
Join the Butcher and myself, two-time Knowledge Champion Mike Larkin, along with your host Dazzy Dangerously, every Friday for the Max Wrestling Podcast, with championship specials every 2 to 3 months.
WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and the company with many names and more.
On Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podomatic, iTunes, and Stitcher.
We must now bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bam!
I got my fist in the air, screaming black power. I feel like Tookie Williams' last hour. We used to stand for something, but most niggas is cowards. Took rows to bars to sit down, so I'm pro-black like the pigs with the fist now. 80s track exists now. All these babies going crazy cause these ladies smoking daily now. So tell me, how you really gonna say the chow when it's still running through our veins as a juvenile? If something's gonna change, you better do it now. Since this makes sense, we gon' start a movement now.
EWA.
Do you play WWE 2K18 on the PS4? Would you like to play against other like-minded players in a very unique online league that's unique because we are more committed to storylines than just a straight-up competitive league? The league is still very competitive, but we also try to run things like a bit of a TV show. Check out the YouTube channel and the Facebook page in the description below if you're interested.
Hey, what's going on, RWT family, SmartMark radio listeners, and wrestling fans around the world? It's your boy, Moses Marquez, and I want to thank you for joining me here on a new episode of the award-winning podcast of the year, SmartMark Radio. January 14th, 2019, soundcloud.com/SmartMarkRadio. We have a very special episode for you today. I will actually be joined not only by Emir Blackbane Costello, but our special guest, the Belt God, Mr. Eric L. White. We have a few things on the docket today, including AEW, And what can WWE do to improve and compete with AEW? Plus, all kinds of news and lots more. So, before I get into that, of course, me, I have to plug. Away I go. So, do keep your currently out right now. I have just released, and the latest episode of Smart Mark Radio was episode 21. Talked about AEW signings, 10 guys on the indie scene that should be signed by AEW, with 6 honorable mentions, 3 guys from the WWE who I felt could make a easy transition to that new promotion. I want to say both episode 1 and 2 of the Retro Rewind are up on the RWT YouTube page and on the SoundCloud station, soundcloud.com/SmartMarkRadio. Also, later on next week, I will be dropping my review of Wrestle Kingdom 13. I apologize for it taking so long, but it was such a great show, and it did take a little bit of time, so it does take some time to have to go back and review it. So keep your eyes and ears open for that one. So we're going to jump right into it. Please stand by, and I'll get my special guest, and we'll take off. Stand by. Okay, here we are. We're back, and I have my 2 co-hosts in all of their glory. First off, Emir Blackbane Costello, my co-host from the Gorilla Position, and of course, our special guest host for this evening, none other than the Belt God, Eric L. White. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moses Marquez, and I'm happy to be doing a show with the Belt God, Eric L. White. And speaking of the Belt God, he actually made an appearance on the RWT podcast sometime last year, or maybe in 2017, I can't remember, but RWT throwback episodes are going to be coming back, and his appearance will re-air pretty soon coming up.
Awesome. Definitely keep your eyes for that one.
Let me just say first off, Emir, I just want to applaud you on the awards. That was amazing. The work you put in for that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you did a great job on the awards. So I just want to say, thank you for putting that out there like that.
You know what, man? I appreciate that. The funny thing is, nobody says things like that really ever. And Moses Marquez can attest to this. I've said it before, that the time that we spend creating content, editing, coming up with show ideas, uploading and putting things together, all the drama we run into. That particular week, I didn't have internet because I just moved into my new house. And I literally sat outside my mother-in-law's house at 6 o'clock in the morning so my computer would attach to her Wi-Fi to get that show uploaded. And to hear you say that, I swear, bro, makes it all worth it, because it lets me know I'm on the right track. So thank you for that recognition.
Yeah, no problem. That was great, like from start to finish.
I agree.
Fantastic.
It was great. It was a terrific show. A lot of awesome awards went out to some great people. I took home 2 Sixth Man of the Year, and of course, the end all be all, the World Championship of itself, the podcast of the year for this exact show, Smart Mark Radio. It is great to be on top. So we do have a full docket, if you will, tonight. And our biggest topic is the biggest topic of all wrestling right now, and that is AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So for those of you who caught my early posts and my repost, and if you are following Smart Mark Radio on Twitter at SmartMarkR for radio, you know that I released an episode talking about my top 10 picks, or my top 10 possible signees for AEW guys to help build the core of that company. I also had 6 honorable mentions and 3 guys I considered from WWE making the jump. So with AEW being so, I guess maybe it's just me that feels like their roster is a tad bit lackluster. Eric, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like Chris Jericho, the Bucks, and Cody and Hangman and Pac are those the biggest stars they can have? Can they have more stars? Do they feel like just this indie promotion with these guys starring it? Do they need more star power is what I'm asking.
Well, I feel like, personally, I would love to see AJ go over there, and I would love to see, what's that tag team in WWE? They're not getting treated right.
The Revival.
The Revival.
Yes, yes, they would be perfect because for one, I've always liked the revival when they was in NXT because they brought that old school tag team. It's not like entertainment how it is now. They look like they could have been the old school Minnesota Wrecking Crew. That's how they wrestled.
Yeah.
So for them to leave WWE and go over there, that would be perfect for them because they would get better opportunities. Because I feel like they're being jobbed right now.
No, I fully agree with you, and that's why they were my number 3 out of my top list of 3 from WWE to go to AEW because of that exact reason. Underutilized. These guys are professional wrestlers to the core. They remind me a lot of the Horsemen. They remind me of Tully and Arn Anderson. So
Right.
I love them. Like I said, I hope that they can eventually make their way there. But I mean, I guess they're in the title picture. I guess we shouldn't whine. Emir, are you in the minority on this?
No, I think I understand exactly what's happening here. Okay, so here's what happens. You, myself, you, Moses Marquez, myself, guys like Eric L. White, the Belt God, we're hardcore wrestling fans. And just like when the new iPhone comes out, I'm an Apple guy, so I'm gonna get the iPhone the day it comes out.
Terrible.
But then there are those who go, I'm interested in that phone, but you know what? I'm gonna let a couple people get it first, and I'm gonna wait till they work out the bugs, and then once I know everything's good, I'm gonna get it. Or a new PlayStation comes out, yeah, I'm gonna wait a couple of months because that first one that comes out, it's gonna have some bugs in it, and then once they get it worked out, then I'll purchase one. And I think that's what these wrestlers are doing. It all sounds good, it all looks good, but there's some people who want to make sure that if they make the jump, they're gonna be taken care of. Now, in the meantime, WWE has all the incentive in the world right now to actually start utilizing, the people that they typically crap on and start treating them right, because they're not the only game in town. And for the first time in forever, you don't have to go to Japan to get on a bigger stage. And don't get me wrong, Ring of Honor is awesome too, but if you take all the guys that made Ring of Honor awesome and they're now on AEW, I kind of feel like that gets top billing. So I think their roster will improve over time, but I think a lot of people are just like, let's wait and see where this is going, and then they're trying to pick the right time to make the jump.
No, you're. I feel the same way you do. Guys are waiting for the right moment to make their jump if they make that jump. Ring of Honor isn't the only other game in town, if you will. There is Impact if you want to go that route. You can make some good money in Mexico these days. Japan doesn't have to be the end-all be-all, but a lot of guys are making gigantic careers in Japan. But there's also smaller promotions like you can become a huge name from PWG. You can become a big name from MLW, promotions like that. But, just like how you said, a lot of the guys that made Ring of Honor popular now are AEW guys. And then when Ring of Honor was hot before it was this hot, now those guys are in WWE. Guys like Sami Zayn, guys like Kevin Owens, guys, similar to all that. They left Daniel Bryan, Nigel McGuinness, for crying out loud. He is a commentator, but he used to be awesome. They're all WWE guys. The point is Ring of Honor, you can start there, but you always grow past it. Like, you'll grow past an Impact. You'll grow past an MLW. You'll grow past PWG. And that's where WWE stands. That's why they call it the end-all, be-all. But with AEW being out there, that's what we're getting at, the new game in town. The only issue is, right now, the only game that they are is to the hardcore fans that aren't happy with WWE. How do we get the new fans to go there?
Well, here's my thing on that. First of all, I watched a beautiful interview Low Key made. It was like about 2 weeks ago. You guys are familiar with Low Key, of course.
Love Low Key.
Absolutely.
The champion of what's that promotion? MLW.
MLW.
Yes. And he was saying, they was asking him, like, well, why do you watch WWE? He says, I don't watch it because it's the same thing. He said, it's a difference between wrestling and entertainment. He said, the fans do not want this entertainment stuff no more. He said, it's cool for the kids and you want to, cater to that for the money. That's fine. He said, but for people, that watch what I'm doing, it's wrestling. And that's where things kind of like got lost over the last couple of years. It's not even wrestling no more. It's entertainment. It's about who can up who, and that's getting stale. It's getting boring. So I feel like Vince McMahon and all these guys, they don't care anymore. So now here comes this new promotion coming in. Oh, let's ask the fans what they want now. Let's listen to them now. Why do you guys want to listen to us now? Because you guys feel threatened. So I feel like AWE, you're right. Some people are waiting to see what it is, but then again, I feel like some people can't wait to make that jump because they're tired of getting jobbed. It's a lot of talent like Shinsuke. I feel like Shinsuke need to leave. His talent is getting wasted. It's to the point where he's a jobber now to me. Like, he needs to either go back to Japan or I say go to AWE. Emir, what you think?
You know, I think the problem is there's a lot of money. Okay, again, you know, guys like us three here on this show on SmartMark Radio, we have our ear to the streets. We're gonna watch the hardcore wrestling, all the stuff that's good. The problem is the casual fan, you know, the soccer mom who doesn't quite know who all the wrestlers are. She knows John Cena. She purchases the action figures and the video games for her kid, and she'll go sit at a show so she can see Roman Reigns. But when the NXT guy gets called up, she goes, "Oh, who's that?" So you understand the difficult time that AEW is going to have is this. There are people who can't get over in WWE making the leap from NXT to the main roster because even NXT is considered too hardcore for the casual fan. Now imagine AEW is not even a WWE product, so it's going to be difficult. But I will say this. The Young Bucks, think about what they were doing in merchandise with the Bullet Club stuff. So it's on us. Yeah, it's on us, okay? So Erica White, you got beautiful babies. Moses has got beautiful babies. I got beautiful babies. It's on us to inform the next generation of where it's at. See, I didn't have anybody to inform me because nobody that I was growing up with, like male figure, there was none. But anyways, my dad, when I finally did meet him, he hates the fact that I watch wrestling. So you understand, I just grew up watching whatever I could find, which was WWF. And I thought, like, there's nothing better than that, and I wouldn't even watch other things. As an adult, I now know that was a mistake. So I think AEW, they can get over, and they could compete with WWE. Hell, WCW nearly took WWE out, but it's going to be on guys like us to inform the up-and-coming generation of fans of, like, yo, this is where the good wrestling is at, you know?
Well, I feel like this. They have the money. The Khans are backing them. And from people telling me, they said the Khans is more richer than Vince. So the money is not even a problem. The thing is, they need to find a good TV deal. If they can get a good TV deal and put out good product to where it caters to what these people want, I feel like they're going to beat WWE. I give it about 2 years. If everything falls, I give it 2 years.
Here's what's tough about that. One of the things I said at the beginning of the broadcast is that I'm an Apple guy. Every year, the new iPhone comes out, I get the new one. I have an Apple Watch on. I have an iPad. My kids have iPads. Think of that as WWE. Now, some new phone comes out that nobody's ever heard of. It gets great reviews. It seems awesome. But I'm an Apple guy. How do you stop me from buying an iPhone, which I do every year? How do you get me to make the jump to whatever this new thing is? Because without even thinking about it, I just automatically consume Apple. How do you get those people?
Well, I hear you on the Apple thing because I'm an Apple. I've just became an Apple guy 2 years ago. I got the same thing as you. I got the watch. I got the phone, everything. I feel like for me to get a different phone, you have to wow me. You have to show me something that I've never seen before or I haven't seen in a while. And I think the Apple phone, it's good, it's cool, you know, it's nice. But if you come, let's say if the Samsung comes with something that caters to what I like and it's really appealing and it caters to, you know, like I said, what I like and stuff, I'll make that jump. Or either I'm going to just have both products. Because that's what I was doing. Just like how you said that you was watching WWE and you thought that was the best. Me, no one showed me the way either. I found that out on my own by watching WWE just like you. But I dipped out, and when I caught on to WCW, I'm like, hey, what is this?
Sure
Oh,
did.
who's these people? Who's Sting? Who's Ric Flair?
Yeah.
Who's the Horseman? Ooh, look at these belts. You know, me in championships, that's my thing. When I seen those belts, oh, I was in love with that. Oh, these are rivals to them? Oh, I'm fixing to tune in to this when this goes off. And that's how I was able to catch on to WCW and NWA. Then after that, I started watching AWA. Okay, this is something now. AWA. Then I started watching USWA. I started watching different promotions and start educating myself on different territories and stuff before Vince bought it all up.
But that's because you're a smarter Mark than I am. Got to find a way to say the show name, right? Moses Marquez.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to throw the plug in there every chance you get. You are a smart Mark, and it definitely shows it by your, I guess, your history, being able to go all the way back to, like you said, to the AWA, USWA, and all the other promotions like that. I just myself started going back to the NWA. Emir and I and our buddy Paul Morales, we have already done 2 NWA shows for the Retro Rewind. They were excellent shows, mind you. See, now, I'm glad that you guys brought up the Apple debate, because I absolutely hate Apple. And truth be told, when I first got into wrestling, I was the complete opposite. I was attracted to pro wrestling by The Undertaker. When I could not find this creature anymore, I found pro wrestling on the Turner Network, TNT, and it just so happened to be Nitro. And the extent of my wrestling was through Nitro. Everybody was talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Degeneration X, and I'm like, dude, I'm talking about the NWO. I'm talking about Sting. I'm talking about Lex Luger, my man Lex Luger. And so, I mean, you guys are absolutely right. It's Emir's, I should say, is right. It's getting the casual fan base to follow. Everybody knows WWE. Everybody knows the moniker WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. And that's why they can flock to it so easily. It was harder to get New Japan fans from the States because a lot of people are programmed by WWE. If it's not WWE, they normally don't want any part of it. But good storytelling, big names, and excellent in-ring work is what got a lot of people to jump that ship. And that's why, in my list, my number 5 guy was none other than the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion and former Universal Champion, Bill Goldberg. I figured if you bring in a gigantic name, a name that can catch anybody's attention, the casual fans to the old fans to the new fans, then you have a hit. That's why I feel AEW needs more stars. Right now, you're attracting indie marks. Smart marks, if you will, as Emir would so graciously put it. It's the casual fans. It's the soccer mom. It's the dad that used to watch wrestling when it was cool. It's the kids that want the big over-the-top characters, from back in the day. There's ways of grabbing attention. And AEW has prime opportunity due to financial superiority, if you will. Now the question is, will they do that? That's where the problem lies. And if they do that, how can they keep the heat? How can they keep this momentum? Because right now, they're the hottest thing in wrestling, and the only show they've done was All In.
But that was a big success, though. Nobody really thought that All In was going to do that good. And it surpassed people's expectations.
Now, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't think that. I feel like a lot of people felt like it was going to be a hit. Do I think that they felt it was going to be as big of a hit? No. I want to say
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
I don't want to say it garnered any more than like maybe 200,000 buys on not on pay-per-view, but on Fight or whatever. But you know what? For a wrestling show in this day and era, when it's $9.99 to watch every damn pay-per-view there is, it was a big buy. And its popularity from, yes, merchandise sales, internet shows like Being the Elite, and just overall excellent wrestling, they have a way to build. Will they build?
Well, here's another reason why I think they're going to succeed is because they're doing something that I feel WWE is not willing to do. They're actually doing business with other promotions, and I think that's what's going to kind of get them in the door. They're doing business with New Japan And from what I heard, they're doing something with Ring of Honor and stuff like that. But
Well-
I hear you. They're working on the indie market. But you're right. They do need to bring in maybe a few more big names to make it relevant.
Well, right
So I
now,
agree with you on that.
right now, what they need to do is they need to work on this partnership with New Japan. They need to make sure that that's something that's actually in fruition, because as of right now, all we know about New Japan is they're going to continue to work with Ring of Honor and nobody pretty much else. But that's where the problem lies. Ring of Honor is not going to work with AEW. They're officially competition now.
Oh, okay.
So that is kind of out the door. But one promotion that is working with AEW is OWE. It's the Oriental Wrestling Empire, I believe, is what it is. And they're bringing a lot of people from that promotion to the States to wrestle with AEW. So that is, at least one part. I feel like another big promotion that could help the Bucks and Cody make a big impact with superstars is if they partner up with PWG. PWG has a insane fan base. Yes, it is still a bunch of indie marks, but their fan base is rabid, and they gain popularity like nobody's business. Adding great superstars who put on killer matches left and right will only help keep the fire. You add stars, you keep the good wrestling, you give us good, simple storytelling, you entertain us when it's just wrestling, and we love you for it. I don't want to be watching a regular show and it just so happens to have wrestling. My wrestling show just so happens to be entertaining is what I prefer.
Yeah, and I got something for you guys too. This is going to be the key to AEW success, and it's this. It's all contained in an interview that Triple H did recently when he was asked, why is Ricochet still in NXT? How is it possible that somebody that wrestles as good as him is not on the main roster? And Triple H's answer was simply, well, for as good as he wrestles, he's a kid who freezes every time he gets a microphone in his hand. And he said, for example, if I said to a guy like Ricochet, as soon as you get the microphone in your hand, I want you to look over at the jib camera, he would say, what's a jib camera? And I got to thinking, oh, okay, so WWE, they don't have super good wrestling on the main roster, but what they are is they are super polished. Like, the production is second to none. But the good news about that for AEW is that Cody Rhodes has a state-of-the-art education from his dad, the American Dream, and from being in WWE himself, and he's working with people who have the money. So not only can they match WWE's production values, but they actually have good wrestling. There's really nothing holding them back. They're going to have to overcome WWE's history with the fans, as evidenced by the fact that, let's just say this, Eric L. White, if one of your sons does a DDT to your other son, he gets injured, the news headline will read, child injures his brother doing WWE move. It won't say wrestling move. It won't say doing a New Japan move. You understand? Like, it'll be like child injures sibling using WWE move, because to the world, WWE is wrestling.
Exactly.
And, to us, we know it's sports entertainment, and we know, like, NXT is wrestling, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, but to the world, it's just like if you could think of going to a retail store, you just go, oh, Walmart. Walmart is retail to people, and there are certain things that just are. But yeah, it doesn't mean that other brands can't exist. But like, yeah, okay, look, if you look at Target, when I worked at Walmart, one of the things I found out is that Walmart makes more money in the first 3 months of the year than Target and Kmart make combined all year long.
God damn.
So I just want you to wrap your head around that. Yes, Target is, it seems like it's competing with Walmart. It's not at all. Walmart is retail. And Walmart, in this instance, is WWE. So AEW's got a lot to overcome, but they can do it. They just gotta be good with the wrestling, but they also can't let the production value suffer either. You know what I mean? New Japan, nobody could touch New Japan if their production was as good as WWE. That would be they would have everything. That would be the dream everything, because they have the best wrestling. The storylines are appropriate. as far as how much time they spend on the mic versus how much time they spend wrestling. What suffers with them is they don't have super good lighting. They don't have super good like camera angles. But AEW is the first company that can come along and provide both wrestling and production.
Well, here's the thing. I get that, but I'm just gonna keep it a buck. If it wasn't for bad managing and bad decisions, WCW would have killed WWE off in the 90s because they had
That's
them
true.
beat. Because
Yep.
they had
Guaranteed.
the finances because Ted Turner was a little bit richer than Vince at that time, but they just didn't have the knowledge. This is why I feel like AW is going to succeed. Same scenario, but I feel like you have the right people in place to challenge WWE. Do they got a big hill to climb? Of course they do, because like you said, WWE runs the monopoly. They run it. Why do you think Triple H is making so many moves? Oh, we're going to do NXT Australia. We're going to do NXT. He's trying to flood the market quick because they feel threatened. That's my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Because all of a sudden you just had a very successful UK pay-per-view. Now you hollering, oh, we're going to do Australia. Now we're going to do Africa. Why are you trying to hurry up and buy up the market? Because you feel threatened. I feel like they're going to succeed, but it's going to take some time, and it's going to take one. I feel like they just need one big name to get them in the door. Because back then, when WWE had a chokehold, what WCW do? Went out and gambled and got Hulk Hogan.
And Bret Hart.
But the original person, the big name they grabbed was Hulk Hogan, and that turned it around. That's all AW need to do. If they get that one big name, WWE is in for a run for their money.
Well, I want
Who's
to
that
interrupt.
name, Moses Marquez?
I was just gonna say, who, in your guys' opinion, do you think that name is? I want to say Kenny, but I'm gonna go with Goldberg. That's how you get casual fans. You give them a giant name that they have to acknowledge. You can't ignore Goldberg if he were to sign.
Okay, but okay, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Goldberg is a big get, but the fact that he's, one, not active currently, and two, the last time that we saw him was kind of a shell of himself. He's big, but he's not going to be the guy that does it. And the reason why it's not going to be Kenny is because there's nothing surprising about Kenny Omega going to AEW. Those are his buddies. I think whoever the big name is, it's going to be the thing about Hulk Hogan, what made his deal in WCW so big is because people went, Hulkamania is WWF through and through. It was the shock factor that a New York guy, back when WWF was referred to as New York, what is a New York guy doing down south? That was the big pizzazz. Do you understand? So this is going to sound crazy, but the Hulk Hogan of this generation is like John Cena. If John Cena went to AEW, which I hope he never does, but that would blow people's minds. That would blow people's minds.
Yeah.
They'd like, this John Cena has WWE in his veins. Yeah. And if he went to AEW, people would be like, oh, I have to watch that. Even if you don't like Cena, you have to tune in just to see what's going to happen, because what the freak just happened? You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, that never happened, but if it did,
that would be crazy, right?
That'd be the thievery of the night. Like, how did they pull that off?
Well, since we discussed that,
he ain't gonna do that. He ain't gonna do that though.
Well, since we
CM Punk as
that,
well. If CM Punk comes back to wrestling and lands in AEW, this is a guy who the fans still chant his name in WWE. Hell, The Rock stood in the WWE ring a couple years ago when they first started filming that Page movie or whatever, and called CM Punk right there in the middle of the ring. If CM Punk came back to wrestling, and I know he's trying to be a commentator for the Blackhawks right now or whatever, but if he came back, he still has the WWE stink on him because the fans, it's like he's the one that got away for all the fans. If he came back and went like I'm with AEW, man, that would send a lightning bolt through the industry.
Well, it's funny. I watched a Jericho interview like right after he signed. Right after he signed this contract, and the interview guy asked him about that. He was like, "Well, CM Punk is retired." He said, "But I'm quite sure." He said, "I feel like he'll think about it. I mean, it's a right move. The fans still love him, like you said. They still chant this man's name, especially when it's events still in Chicago. That's all you hear. So if they was to be able to pull him, that would be big. Also, that would."
So then
that would be big.
So then that's the question then, since John Cena is obviously not going to make that kind of move, and they're not going to get an Okada or a Tanahashi or anybody like that, is CM Punk the one name that can bring that kind of publicity to AEW to keep its momentum for a long time, or is there somebody else, say a Dolph Ziggler, maybe a Zack Ryder, somebody? But see, that's my whole thing. And everybody wants to continue to say AJ, because he was part of the Bullet Club. He knows the Bucks. He's probably worked with Cody before because, I'm sure he's worked with his dad at some point. But here's my thing about AJ. AJ is in his 40s, if I'm not mistaken. He makes a lot of money for WWE. And if Daniel Bryan can make a lot of money and work minimum dates, they're going to do the same thing for AJ Styles. Now, I get it, Tony Khan and the Khan family have way more money than the McMahons. But are you going to leave a comfortable situation where you're home maybe 3 days a week, you do less house shows, you're mainly doing a couple of SmackDowns, and every other pay-per-view or something, especially the big shows, and you're still getting paid what you're getting paid? Are you going to want to leave for a little bit more money and more dates?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I heard he hasn't signed the new contract because of that situation. He asked them for that. They haven't given him that. And from what I was told or what I heard, Cody's trying to holler at AJ to give him what he wants.
Well, yeah, of course. That's going to be the thing. They know what he wants. They know that he's going to want less. And, of course, Cody's going to, as the businessman that he is, because of his dad and his lineage during, the 70s and 80s when he was pretty much running promotions while still wrestling for them. Incredible, by the way. He understands the business side of this. And I believe that's why AJ didn't sign, is he figured that this is going to be for real. I'm sure he's considering the offer, but I personally don't think AJ's leaving. If Nakamura leaves, he's not going to AEW. He's going back to Japan.
And I feel he should. I really do. I feel like he should. I feel like personally WWE is sheltering him. They haven't given him a major push. We all thought he was going to get that major push around the Rumble time, around WrestleMania, but they turned him heel.
His major push should have been when he beat Jinder for the title, not continuing this bullshit thing where he couldn't beat Jinder, where Jinder couldn't be beaten by anybody that wasn't AJ. That's what killed Nakamura.
And I'm quite sure Emir is going to feel some different because that's his guy.
But hold on, hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, but before we get to that, I do want to get both your guys' opinion because we're talking about Nakamura in such a high volume. Kushida is on his way to NXT. Is it going to be the same thing?
Ooh.
I'm surprised that Kushida is going to NXT because let me tell you something about WWE. They had Nakamura and they had Asuka to prove to Japanese wrestlers why they should want to make their home WWE. Any Japanese wrestler, just look at how Asuka's treated and look at how Nakamura's treated, and that's how you should base your decision. Now, Asuka was treated great up until the point that she lost her winning streak, and then after that, not so much. She kind of fell back a little bit, and I know she has the belt now, but that's a rather new situation. Nakamura, his best match to me was against Sami Zayn in NXT. And it's only gone downhill from there.
I kind of disagree, Emir. His
really?
best match was against I feel his best match was against Samoa Joe in NXT.
Really?
I remember those matches with him versus Samoa Joe. I think the reason why I enjoyed the matches with the one match with Sami Zayn more is because I think it was just the wow factor of Nakamura is really here, and the crowd was so hyped, and just the look in Sami's eyes. I don't know what it is, man.
So you're talking about Sami's last match before he got called up? That match he had? Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah, that was a great match. I give you that.
And Nakamura, just seeing him, I didn't get to watch him in New Japan. I had to go back and I saw pictures
Oh,
of him
man.
before he came to WWE, but I didn't know who he was. I was just like, who the hell's that guy?
Man,
Yeah, I went back and
you didn't
watched, but
you didn't see him. You didn't see his match against Brock back in the day.
I saw you.
yeah, I went back and then I also saw. I mean, I'm talking, and that was when he wasn't even the artist. Like he wasn't Shinsuke Nakamura. Like he just looked like any other Japanese wrestler back then. You know what I mean?
Right, right. But he had a great match against Brock, and he had and his match with AJ in New Japan was off the chain.
Wrestle
Yeah,
Kingdom
I
10.
went back and watched those again. And if you don't know this about me, Mr. Belcod, my first time ever watching New Japan wrestling was Wrestle Kingdom 11.
Oh, mine was 12.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I got there just a little bit before you, but I've gone back where first of all, I finally got the New Japan Network. When I didn't have it, a young Moses Marquez, who barely knew who I was kind enough to lend me his login. I was like, I don't know who this kid is, but damn, I appreciate him.
Good wrestling must be appreciated by the masses. So I'm happy to give my to lend my account. It's no trouble at all.
So yeah, man. I don't know. I just Kushida. Here's the thing. I wanted the Nakamura thing to work out so that more Japanese wrestlers would be attracted to WWE. But the more I watched New Japan and the more I watched WWE, for the first time in my life, I've been like, no, nobody come here because they're going to ruin them. They're going to ruin them. I mean, Aleister Black, just real quick, I think he's great, but also he was good as Tommy End. Chris Hero to me is way better than Cassius Ohno. Kevin Steen will always be better than Kevin Owens. Like there's something that happens to people when they come to WWE. They strip them of all their moves. They take away everything that made them. Uhaa Nation. Who the hell is Apollo? I mean, come on, this guy was awesome, and then he comes to WWE and he's nothing. He's a nobody.
Well, let me ask you. I'm sorry, Kacho. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, it's supposed to be their dream destination, and then they finally make it, and then they get told, welcome. Also, here's 86 moves you're never allowed to do, and you're going to take her name away from you.
Well, then, we'll see the reason, just like we said before, it's entertainment. We're here to view to the kids. You can't do that. I agree with you. I agree. But look, here's my question to both of you guys. What if AWE all of a sudden, if they could pull it off, sign Okada?
Oh my God, Moses Marquez. What if they got Okada?
Okay, here's I'm gonna give you a very straightforward, simple answer with that. If they were to gain Okada, you officially gain, in my opinion, approximately 30+% of the Japanese WWE fan base will leave WWE to strictly follow AEW. Okada would be an immediate game changer. Just like a Tanahashi would be a game changer, a Naito would be a game changer. The idea of having one Japanese star not named Kenny Omega in an American promotion could actually give WWE a run for its money. Now, the problem is it has to be a certain one, like the three I just named. You can't bring over a Taguchi and expect, greatness. You can't bring over a Goto and expect greatness. You can't bring over... And I love him for this, so please, no disrespect. You can't bring over Ishii and expect greatness. You need a superstar. And Okada would be that superstar. If you were to add Okada and CM Punk to AEW, congratulations. The Monday Night Wars have started all over again. Except it's Tuesday that it's on, while Monday and Friday are occupied by WWE.
Tuesday Night Titan. What is it?
Tuesday Night Dynamite. The greatest wrestling show I've never seen and have ever heard of. It's amazing. I love that name. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, before we continue to go on this great ramble, Eric, you are the belt god. And I do want to talk to you about belts. We did get a little bit into how we like the NXT UK tag titles. I feel they're glorious. NXT UK title is exquisite, my favorite belt in all the professional wrestling right now. But I want to talk to you about these newly minted and newly debuted WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Before anybody gives me anything, do they or do they not look like the X Division titles from Impact?
Yes, but to a certain extent, like the X Division, you're not talking about the Impact, the one they have now. You're talking about.
I'm talking about the old one.
Okay.
With the
Yes,
big
I
red
agree.
X that looked like a Dos Equis label, and then the one where they went green, where it was just like a giant, oddly shaped belt with an X.
I hated that title. I don't know why they changed that design. I was so mad when they did that. But yes, I agree. Like the reason why, and I'm quite sure you guys both know this, that they came with that design because the original design leaked too early and Vince got upset. Because when that picture leaked, fans got really pissed off and they panicked. That's why you didn't see those tag belts back when the women's pay-per-view happened, because they panicked and it was like, okay, we're going to press pause. I'm thinking like, okay, they're coming with a new design. It might look better until they revealed them ugly titles tonight. And I'm like, ugh, I can't wait to talk about this. I feel like personally, they messed up years ago letting Dave Milliken go, and they went in-house and they make their belts in-house, and look at the messed up designs that comes out now.
First
So
off,
to answer your question,
I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you explain to the people who Dave Milliken is? Like me and Emir have an idea of who he is, but to those who are unfamiliar with the belt creator, if you will, can you give a bit of history about him?
I just want to say that's a lie. I have no idea who that guy is.
Really?
God damn it!
Well,
you're
man,
supposed to be a
He's
smart
the belt
mark.
god, not me. I'm Blackbane. I don't. All right, guys.
Well, let me plug you guys. Once maybe later on tonight or whenever you guys have free time, you can go on his page, DaveMilliken.com, and you'll see all the gorgeous belts that he's made over the years that you'll see and be like, wow, I didn't know he made this. He's responsible for the old, the tag belts in WCW, all the, the television title, all the United States belt. Dave Milliken did those belts. All the old school belts we grew up on as kids and loved, except for the big gold. Someone else did the big gold. Dave Milliken did all those belts. The wing eagle title, he made that. The tag team, old school tag belts back in the day for WWF, he made those. He made the Intercontinental title. He's responsible for all that.
I see right here. I'm on the site now, and just a quick add-in to what you're saying, Belt God. He has made championship belts for WWF, WCW, NWA, TNA, WCCW, UWF, AWA, UFC, and numerous more promotions. I couldn't even list them all.
Yes.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yes. What belts did he? What was the recent belt he did? He did the most recent belt for one of these promotions. I can't even think of it right now. But yeah, he's responsible for our childhood championships that I fell in love with.
Are you talking about maybe the Impact titles?
Did he do those? He did the old. He did the first. You remember the belt you just talked about, the big red.
The X Division with the big red on it.
He did that one. He did that.
He did their tag titles.
He did the TNA tag belts. He did the TNA, the first original championship. He did that one.
Their heavyweight.
I'm looking at right now that the TNA World and Legends championships that he did.
Yep.
Legends
he did that
championship.
Too.
That was
and
an
all
awesome
the
looking
UFC
belt.
titles are made by him. All of them.
Because they all look the same too. They're as bad as WWE. Except those aren't even different colors.
Yeah, right. But see, the problem I have, that's one of the reasons why I'm big on belts, because it started with me with WWE when they introduced those penny tag team belts.
That made by Dave McMillan.
He made those.
Yep.
Yeah, he made those, but I did some research on that. He did not want to make those. Vince made him because he was still in a contract with WWE at the time. Vince came at him with that. Dave Milliken didn't want to do that, but he just did it because he was still on the payroll. After he did those belts, he terminated his contract with them, and that's why WWE have an in-house or make belts now, because he didn't like those penny belts he made, and he terminated his contract. So he don't even make belts for the WWE no more. That's why we have the shitty titles we have now.
That's crazy.
Crazy
so that's who Dave Milliken is. The creator of all our childhoods with the championships.
I'm looking at a list of all the belts that he has made, and oh my God, it's ridiculous. I mean, IPWA, Georgia Heavyweight.
And I forgot he's responsible for the IWGP belts, if I'm not mistaken.
Glorious
EFC.
pieces of
He's
gold
made belts
right there.
for the people out in Africa.
Africa.
Ring of Honor, of course, the World Television title for Ring of Honor.
Did he make the new belts for them?
Yes. Yes, he did.
So then he made that awesome-looking world title, because that thing looks badass.
Yeah, I think he did make that. What belt? No, matter of fact, the only problem I had that I disagree in the Ring of Honor belts was the 6-man tag belts. I felt the first edition of those belts, I loved those, but when they came out with the second version, I completely hate them. I don't like the design. I don't like the look.
I feel like they're kind of plain.
Yes, they're very plain. I did not like them at all.
Yeah.
So but the Ring of Honor belt, the new one, yes, I agree. Very beautiful title.
So speaking of titles, they're not just the greatest things you wear. They do represent the championships being the top of the division. And since like I said, we just talked about the newly minted and debuted women's tag team championships. In your guys' prediction, who's going to be that first team?
Sasha and Bailey.
The Boss and Hug connection, you say?
Boss and Hug. First of all, yeah. I'm having a hard time thinking of what tag teams exist for women besides Boss and Hug and and the Pigeon and
the Pigeon.
What's them girls' names? The Iconics.
There you go, the Iconics.
But I'm talking about the Pigeon though. The Pigeon and her two friends, Liv Morgan and.
You talking about the Riot Squad?
First off, she's not a pigeon. That's like a parakeet because that fucking thing is gigantic.
You talking about the Riot Squad?
Talking about the Riot's gigantic nose. Anyway,
and Liv motherfucking Morgan.
Liv Morgan. Well, I mean, like, you guys are right. There's no tag team. I mean, it's great to have the tag titles. It's great to show off new gold, but there's no division. They're going to. I guess. I didn't really watch Raw, so I don't really watch it the next day, and then I turn around and try to watch SmackDown the same day. But as far as I know, they're going to be crowned at the Elimination Chamber. I think it's going to be like teams inside of the Elimination Chamber. Winner becomes women tag team champions. So you got to have a division. You need to have more women's tag team matches, have people as an actual team. Then I can understand, who you're putting the fucking thing on. Right now, I know of 3 teams or 2 teams. That's it. And there's fucking belts for 2 random teams. So one of these 2 fucking teams is going to get these belts? Or 3 teams is going to get these belts?
Well, like I said, it's only 2 teams that I can see them putting those on. It's either Sasha and Bailey, or they're gonna put it on Nia and Tammy, Tamia, because they're kind of like a solid team.
Would you say this though, Belt God? Whoever gets the tag titles, it can't be exclusive to any one show. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Because there's just not enough teams, so they would have to go like, if these are the women's tag titles, but they can be defended on either brand, because
that's what they're gonna do.
Okay, got it.
That's already been I read up. That's when whoever gets these belts, they're gonna defend them on both shows.
As they should. You can't have just these things be a dual branded thing. You would just be adding more gold for the sake of adding gold. It makes no more sense. It's time for unification. No more brand split.
One thing?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, off subject. As far as belts go, they need to retire that United States title. I've never been a fan of that design. I don't like that belt. And I feel like there's no meaning behind it. I mean, ever since John Cena lost it, and it lost its value again, to me personally.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that spinner, that U.S. Belt that John Cena had back in the day was pretty cool. But the one that they have now, there was one, bro, that was going around on a WWE 2K17 video game, and that design.
I know exactly
what I'm talking about. Oh, it was
Thing
off
was
the chain. I
glorious.
was like, they need to make that.
Here's the story on that. You got, well, Emir, you seen my belt, the IC belt I just got, right?
Yes.
Okay. The guy that made that belt made that United States title for another customer. So when I got it, the guy that made my belt, I'm like, hey, let me get that. Like, I've been, that's been circulating on, that could have possibly been a real belt.
Hello? Uh-oh. I believe we're having difficulties. Yep, looks like I lost him. Stand by, everybody. All right, we're back after some technical difficulties, and Eric was actually talking about this modified U.S. championship that had circulated on the WWE 2K Creative Center, and I saw it. I figured it was awesome. I wanted it as an actual belt. You found it in store?
No, what happened was, I finally found a person that makes, the belts for, people, the replicas. I'm sorry, the replica belts. So my first belt that I bought was, hello?
We're here.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah, my first belt that I bought last year was the Macho Man red logo Intercontinental title. And my next belt, I didn't know what I was going to get. So I seen that he made for another customer that prestigious belt that's been circulating, and I wanted it. But I guess he had the guy signed a contract that only he can get that belt. So that kind of sucked. But if I had that belt in my possession, oh my goodness. But that should have been the new custom. That should have been the new title made for WWE for the United States title, my opinion.
No, I agree. We've had the same U.S. title for forever. The Big Show had that belt, and it looked the same. It's time to either retire it as a whole or just retire the design. I'm sure Emir is on the same boat with us.
Yeah, you know what else I hate? I hate the fact that every time somebody wins the U.S. title, they change their gimmick to being like Kevin Owens was gonna be like.
Oh yeah, the face of America.
The face of America, and then Nakamura starts like.
Oh yeah, Nakamerica.
Nakamerica. Okay, you won the U.S. title. Let's all relax. You don't have to come out draped in a flag just because you won the belt.
Coming out in a flag. Don't you tell me how to live my gimmick.
Right.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up with one simple topic, and that's signings. We talked about AEW and the possible signings they could do to help garner more viewers to their new promotion, help keep this fire burning. But WWE has a way of getting talent for themselves. They like to steal talent under people's noses. Ring of Honor's nose, New Japan's nose, and every other promotion in between. One guy that they signed, and I feel is an excellent signing, and that's former X Division champion himself, Trevor Lee. He will be joining the ranks in NXT, I want to say toward the end of the month. And if rumors are correct, Shane Strickland, former MLW World Heavyweight Champion, and also known as Killshot on Lucha Underground, will be joining him in NXT. Do you know these guys? Do you like these guys? How do you feel about this? And how awesome is NXT?
I've heard both names, and I know with certainty, I don't think I've ever seen a Trevor Lee match. I'm getting a good look at this kid now. Shane Strickland, I think I may have seen some of his matches, but again, as I brought up earlier when Triple H spoke about Ricochet, he said, people will say to me, these guys got 15 years into their career, 10 years, 12 years. Why do they have to start in NXT? It just comes down to this. I'll use another retail theory. I worked at Walgreens as an assistant manager. The people that worked at Walgreens, they thought that they were the shit. But I came from Walmart, and I was like, this is such a small-time thing. Like, you guys don't even understand. Like, the entire Walgreens store was the equivalent of one department in Walmart.
Oh, I believe it.
So Yeah, so it's this thing where it's like, okay, you've worked for 10 years in retail and you're a manager at Walgreens. That doesn't mean that you could run a Walmart. It's not even comparable. And so when these guys come into NXT and as opposed to coming straight into the main roster, people go like, well, why not? This guy's been, wrestling all around the world. He's held championships everywhere. Okay, but he doesn't know what a fucking jib camera is, so shut up.
Exactly.
So, but I'm happy when the guys go to NXT too, because that's the last chance we have to kind of see, who they were on the independent circuit. Because when they get to main roster, we ain't gonna see none of their moves. They're gonna change their name. They're gonna strip them of their identity. So I'm happy to see guys go to NXT, and I think that these guys, Trevor Lee and Shane Strickland, I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna go back and watch their matches, and if they're being signed right now, I know they got to be worth it, and I hope that they have a lot of fun in NXT. And because I think when they go to main roster, it'll be over for them.
Well, what I want you to do is I want you to look up Shane Strickland versus Matt Riddle for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship, and I want you to take that match as your match to get you into Shane Strickland. And then after you watch that one, I want you to watch Killshot versus AR Fox from Lucha Underground.
Yo,
You can
Shane
find
Strickland is this black guy?
Yeah, that's Shane
Isn't
Strickland I just said his name. Killshot from Lucha Underground.
But does he wrestle in PWG too?
Yep.
I know this guy. Oh my god! Now I'm like super excited.
Shane Strickland is he's insane. He's very, very good. He has great personality, an excellent persona, excellent character, and very impressive in ring. Trevor Lee, a little less on the mic, a little not as good on the mic, but just as excellent in the ring. That's why I'm looking forward to Trevor Lee. Eric, have you heard of either one of these two gentlemen?
I've heard of Trevor Lee. I never really watched his match. I've heard about him. The other guy I haven't really heard about. But hearing you guys talk about their match, I'm gonna do my own research on them too. It seems like they're big names. Well, they're nice big names to be signed to NXT. So I need to do my research on them also.
What's the guy? I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but who's the guy that got fired from WWE because he got into it with his wife? I think his wife's name was like Sue Young or something like that.
You're talking about Rich Swann.
Okay, Rich Swann. I think I saw Shane Strickland. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was. What's his name? Cedric Alexander. I think I saw some match with him, and I was like, "Yo, this dude is dope." He also has a match with Ricochet. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot, and I like his look. So wow, I didn't realize that was him. It's like the name sounded familiar, but now that I'm seeing his face, this is way more exciting.
And then for Trevor Lee, as hard as it is to find any of his PWG matches on the internet, if you can find one, Trevor Lee at PWG is insane. You can definitely see his excellent in-ring work. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank Eric for joining us for this very special episode. We were supposed to be joined, and our fourth guy was supposed to be the artist formerly known as The Butcher, David Gillum, but unfortunately the flu has attacked him like no other, and he had to reschedule. But fear not, AEW is fresh. AEW will have a lot more going on in the next coming weeks and months and years, so we will get the opportunity to bring him on and get his opinion on that. Eric, do you have any social media you'd like to plug for the people to follow you? Any Instagram, Twitter, any of that fun jazz? Maybe you're one of those creepy guys on Snapchat.
My Twitter name, is Gadget, GADJET 23 on Twitter. My Instagram is E_white 11, and that's pretty much it for social. And then my Facebook is my name, Eric White, Eric L. White.
The
That's
Belt
pretty
God.
much it.
The Belt God himself. You can check him out on Twitter. You can check him out on Instagram. Emir, what's going on the RWT page?
RWT page. We got fresh episodes of RWT Road Trip coming. Some more RWT throwback episodes. Some more Gorilla Position. SmartMark Radio. War on Raw. it's never gonna stop. Oh, it's a new month, so we're about due for the next episode of the Wrestling Nerd Chick. So it's gonna be a crazy couple of weeks, and with the Royal Rumble kicking off, it's about to be WrestleMania season. So I'm just, we got a lot of good content coming all the time.
Oh, I want to say one more thing. The
Go ahead.
Wrestling Nerd Chick. I want to congratulate her on the win she got in the awards. My applause to her and her show.
Big shout out
Yeah, you
to
know
Moni
what?
Lynn.
Moni Lynn, she came on the scene brought by Robert Davis, and she was the first woman to make it to the top 10 list. She's won all kinds of awards. Her podcast gets crazy views, and even this on the top 10 contributors list for December, she actually made it to number 2. So
That is the highest I've ever
interested
reached.
to see if she gets number 1, she'll be the first woman that ever got crowned RWT champion.
Wow.
She's killing it. There's no other way to put it. Moni Lynn is absolutely killing it. I want to say she won 4 awards on the RWT awards, but she didn't win the big one. But that's okay, because she's gonna be on my ass next year. I guarantee you that one. But that's why I bring out all the awesome stuff as awesome as I can. So maybe I could just overflood her. So like Emir said, we have all kinds of crazy content coming out, so keep your eyes peeled to the RWT YouTube page. Some of that is going to be able to transfer over to the SoundCloud station, soundcloud.com/SmartMarkRadio. Episode 1 and 2 of the Retro Rewind are up, available now on both those locations. Episode 3 should be dropping sometime later on this week. We are reviewing ECW Heatwave 1998. It was a show. Let's just go with that. And as confirmed during our technical difficulty intermission, if you will, the Belt God, Mr. Eric L. White, will be joining Emir, myself, and Mr. Paul Morales when we review WCW's Capital Combat 1990. That will be episode 4 of the Retro Rewind. Keep your ears and eyes open for that one. A lot of Royal Rumble stuff coming, guys. We have a Royal Rumble review coming out with a grip of people on that list. It's going to be Emir, myself, Paul Morales, Moni Lynn, Michael Larkin, David Gillum if he's available, and God knows who the hell else. It's craziness. It's January, and it's a new year, and we're hitting it extra hard. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank Emir for showing up like always and doing an excellent job. Eric, it was a pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen. We will be doing this again, so keep your eyes and ears peeled to the Facebook page, to the Twitter, to the YouTube, and everywhere in between. And we'll catch you around the bend, boys and girls. Have a great night. Peace out.
You guys have a nice one.